What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today, on episode 63 of the podcast, we are talking about the fourth entry of the Terminator franchise, Terminator Salvation. I am your host, Brett Parker, and joining me, as always, the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. That was the best air horn I could do.
Yeah. Wait, that's a semi-truck. Sorry.
So, Terminator Salvation. Why didn't they call it Terminator 4? You think it just sounded better this way?
They're like, it's too many numbers. Fuck that.
We can't count past 3.
We can't count past 3.
It's like, well, I mean, you see that in some video game franchises. Like,
Yeah.
we can't keep putting numbers at the end. Like, why? Is it a bad thing?
Now I've got
Yeah.
that song stuck in my head.
What?
1, I can count 1. 2, I can count.
That's not the song I was thinking of. I was thinking of da 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 da.
So this is the fourth film in the Terminator franchise, and this is technically Terminator 4 because this does follow the events of Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. But we have a whole new cast, whole new set of people. We have a new John Connor. We have a lot of new things. And we finally see this future, this desolate future that has been referenced in every Terminator movie that has come before it.
Yeah, you know what it looks like? Nevada. Carry on. No,
Sure
does.
Does.
I don't care. Keep going. Well, it does take place in the Southwest.
Yeah.
So,
Right,
like,
'cause
California.
LA
Arizona.
is one of the
LA.
locations, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're in the area. The
Right.
joke's relevant.
That's fine. So this Terminator Salvation was released on May 21st, 2009. It was budgeted at $200 million,
Christ.
which is a lot of money.
Yes.
For a movie that really wasn't backed by a huge studio. This was actually funded by like a really small studio that doesn't even exist anymore. Filed for bankruptcy a few years later. When they actually were in talks to do a sequel to this movie. Actually, this was supposed to be the start of a trilogy, but because of the studio going under, filing for bankruptcy, they had to sell off the rights to Terminator, and I think is Annapurna purchased the rights, which then we got the next one, which we'll talk about in a couple weeks, Terminator Genisys. I'll keep saying it incorrectly when they start until they spell it correct because it's a stupid ass name.
That's fair. That's fair.
This movie grossed $371.4 million, which, I mean, yes, it made over $100 million to its budget, but still made less than Terminator 3.
That's oofda, dude.
Yeah, I think people are starting to feel the Terminator fatigue here.
But that doesn't make sense, though.
Yeah,
but to be fair, it doesn't. It's not like nowadays where it's like 3 Marvel movies a year. This was, 84, 85, whatever that was. Then what, 91, 92? Then 2003, then 2000. It's not like they're dumping them on you left and right. I don't get it.
It's not like they're puking up Terminator movies every other year or every year.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like Marvel or even like Transformers. We were getting a Transformers movie every 2 years.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
And some of those movies, to be honest, when it comes to like Terminator, I think I'd rather watch some of the Terminator movies over watching some of the lower end Terminator movies over some of any of the Transformers movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Maybe. So this was directed by Mick G. Yep, that's his name, everybody.
He comes into our stream all the time.
Oh, wow.
We have a guy
famous director Mick G coming into your stream.
Yeah, it's Mick. I could be the same guy. He goes by this is Chick Magnet Net handle, Mick G. So it has to be the same guy.
So Mick G,
if you're actually listening to this, Dave, like appreciate it, dude. Like, no, just poking.
So he is the director of such films as Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle from 2000 to 2003. We Are Marshall from 2006, which actually was a pretty good movie. This Means War in 2012. The Babysitter and its sequel, The Babysitter, Killer Queen, which were 2 Netflix like slasher movies.
I heard that the first one was good.
I've heard
I don't know about
I heard good things about the first one. The only thing I watched was a kill count on the second one. Didn't actually see the movie, so
okay.
Was it good? I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, this was a weird one because when he got the job to direct this, a lot of people were like very hesitant because before that, as I stated, he did Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Charlie's Angels. I thought it was a good spin on a classic TV show. Full Throttle was a mess, but it was just, this was kind of just a completely different, ballpark for him. And Christian Bale let him know that too. That like I guess Christian Bale was very much on the side of the fans of like, are you going to be able to handle this dude? And Mick G's like, hey man, you gotta don't doubt me. Let me see what I can do. Let me broaden my horizons. And then the movie didn't do so well. And Christian Bale's like, yeah, I'm probably never going to work with this guy again. I don't dislike him. I have no problems with him, but just maybe never going to, do anything professionally with him again.
That's hey, dude, that's something I can respect. Like I have people that I work with that, no offense to them, I don't, I just would not work with this person again.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh, there's a lot of people I've worked with that I'm like, I could be friends with you. We could hang out outside of work, but I don't ever want to work with you ever again.
Yeah, I don't even want to be friends with these people. I just don't want to work with them. Like, I'm just like, no, dude, I'm good.
You just write them off.
Yeah,
Period.
I'm done.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Give him a chance.
So, the writers for this movie were the same writers as Terminator 3.
Really?
So, John Brancato and Michael Ferris.
At least they kept the consistency.
Yeah, they did Terminator 3. Then they did Surrogates after this, and then The Hunter's Prayer, which we talked about in last week's episode, so we don't need to go too far into it. Also, Catwoman is on their filmography, which is like, oh no!
Well, that's a red flag.
Oh no! Music for this movie was by Danny Elfman.
Was it?
It was, which was weird to see because you don't see that credit until the end, and you're like, Danny Elfman did the music? All right. Listen, my complaints about Terminator 3 last week, one of the major ones was the fact that they didn't utilize the iconic theme. This movie started off with it was a very different theme, but it was very dark, and I was kind of into it. But then once they get to the title, it fucking punches you right. I watched it on this Blu-ray because I don't have it on digital, and for some reason, the talking is like everybody's talking like this, and but then the fucking music or the explosion or the fighting happens, and my house starts to shake. My wife's trying to go to sleep. My kids are trying to sleep. I'm in the living room, like, holy shit. So I'm like constantly turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down. Like, where's the consistency here?
We had a little bit of that too.
But I've noticed that on certain Blu-rays of older movies, it's like they don't get the balance right.
Yeah.
And we've had to do that before. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, the once the title hits and it plays the theme, it punches you right in the face. It's like so loud. I was like, holy shit.
Here's your music. Boom.
Here it is. Jesus.
They heard your complaint.
I'm like, thank you for playing it, but I can't hear anything else. So this movie was also very infamous for the huge tirade that Christian Bale had on the set, which, everything is all set. So according to the things that I have read is that it was between him and the cinematographer. I guess it was one of the really intense scenes where he has to make one of his 17 speeches in this movie because he does that a lot.
Yeah, he does.
And the cinematographer, of course, is trying to make the shot always look good. So he's behind, moving things around. And I guess he was walking through the shot a bunch and Christian Bale just snapped. And there's a recording of it.
Yeah.
Which maybe I'll put on this video. Probably not. But of him going off. I guess they made amends that same day and all that, according to Christian Bale. And it lasted a long time. This is something that is always going to live with Christian Bale throughout his career. Is like, as great as an actor as he was the guy who got recorded flipping out on somebody on set, and it's like, okay, we're over it now. But it's something when you talk about Terminator Salvation, you have to bring this situation up because it is kind of ingrained in the history of this movie.
Yeah.
So this movie stars, of course, Christian Bale as John Connor. Now, if you want to talk about anyone who has played John Connor in this franchise who feels like John Connor, how you would imagine John Connor being when you think of the future. Like, we understand Edward Furlong's playing a teenager. You kind of got to just go with it. But we all had our complaints about Nick Stahl in Terminator 3. At least I did.
Fucking limp-wristed Nick Stahl, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah. But the fact that, like, this is what I would imagine John Connor being like in the future. And I think it was a great casting. Mm-hmm. Is it the best performance by Christian Bale? Far from it. It's kind of up and down between being very kind of dry and being over the top. Yeah. But when he's in those fight scenes doing those things, fighting the Terminators and stuff, it looks right. This is Batman. He literally did The Dark Knight the year before. You're like, this is just Batman fighting Terminators. So just there you go. Just imagine that, right? I can
Batman
believe
versus Terminator.
Yeah,
that was a comic. I swear it was.
Probably everybody's versing everybody in comic books.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, this starred everybody's favorite late 2010s, everybody's favorite guy, Sam Worthington, the man who was literally in everything from like 2008 to like 2012. That was like his heyday. In just 1 year, he did Avatar and Terminator Salvation. And then I think the next year he would do Clash of the Titans. And then 2 years later, he would do the sequel to Clash of the Titans. And then after that, he disappeared.
So
he's done some things, just not.
I mean, no, I know he's been in movies, but he's not that name anymore because people are kind of like, yeah, he's not. I guess he was fine. Like, he's not a terrible actor. He just, we're kind of over it. You feel like he's kind of the same dude in every movie. Kind of reminds me of, who Jai Courtney is? We're going to talk about him when we talk about the next Terminator movie because he's the next John Connor in this goddamn franchise. But he was in like Suicide Squad. He played Captain Boomerang.
Oh yeah.
He like literally plays the very same character in like almost everything, and he kind of reminds me of Sam Worthington in the way that people perceived him. They're like, oh my god, he's in everything, and he's not good. I don't think that. I think Sam Worthington's fine, but he literally was like, whoop, and then it's just like he did things, but he wasn't as relevant.
I see all these credits I'm going through, and the only one that jumps out to me is like, Mason, Reznov was never there. What do the numbers mean, Mason?
Yes, he was the lead character in Black Ops, and then he was in Black Ops 2 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was in Black Ops Cold War, and I think he appears as a voice or a character.
I didn't play the campaign for that one.
I did, yeah, he's in it. He's not too bad. Not too bad.
Okay.
He's in the new Avatar movies.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, James Cameron usually, he's all about consistency.
He has 2 kids.
Oh, he's one of those Hollywood name guys.
One of them's name is Rocket Zot, and the other one's name is Racer.
Are we talking about Sam Worthington?
Yes.
Kids, yes.
Is he from I think he's from New Zealand, right? Or is he Australian?
He's from the UK.
Oh, he's UK. Oh, really? Oh, what?
But like, really?
That's Hollywood names.
I
think he does an okay job as the character he is in this movie.
No.
I have no problem. I enjoyed his character in the movie, but as like an actor, I think he's okay. But I like his character.
My dick is money. Oh man! So this also starred Anton Yelchin, who we talked about a little bit last week, but he played. I can't remember the character's name in Star Trek. He's the Russian dude, the engineer, Chekhov.
Yes, Chekhov.
And Star Trek.
Mr. Chekhov.
He was also in a really good movie, at least a movie that I really enjoyed. I think was one of his like last roles was called Good Thomas or Odd Thomas. which was directed by the guy who did The Mummy and The Mummy Returns.
Ooh.
Stephen Sommers. Is about like a guy who can like see demons, and like it's an interesting movie. I do recommend it if you can. If it's on a streaming service, check it out. But yeah, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. Yeah, he is a very good. I really enjoyed his acting. I think he was really good in pretty much everything that he was in. And unfortunately, you know, the good ones die young, as some would say.
Yep.
Russia.
This also starred Moon Bloodgood. I don't know, but she's in this movie. And
yeah, she is definitely in this movie.
Fun fact. So,
she's from Nebraska.
I did see that.
Alliance.
Yeah. So,
Alliance, Nebraska.
I watched the director's cut of this movie, which only added 3 minutes to the theatrical cut.
So
now, the theatrical cut of this movie is PG-13. The director's cut is rated R. Would you like to know what? Hey, bingo! There it is, everybody. The reason that the director's cut is rated R is because of one scene. Actually, it was like it was technically 2 scenes, but it's like back-to-back scenes. One, and we'll talk about it during the breakdown, but we'll talk about it now, is when Marcus and Blair make it to that like abandoned gas station where they're kind of like, you know, she's gonna shower, you know, wash herself. Well, she goes topless.
Okay.
And awkwardly turns to Marcus and stares at him as she cups her tits. And just stares at him. And he's not even looking at her until he kind of turns and is like, the fuck?
Yeah.
That is it. And then the next scene, she gets attacked and like the guys attempt to sexually assault her.
Oh, okay.
And Marcus beats the fucking shit out of him. Like beats the shit out of them. Yeah, so that's it. That is literally the additions to the theatrical cut that made the director's cut. So fucking director's cuts, man. Some of them are really good. And then you have this.
We just did it for the titties.
Why?
That's why.
I literally saw, I was like, okay. Like when the scene pops up, I was like, okay.
Like,
but it wasn't even that fact that she like goes topless. It's like, it is what it is. But the whole design of the scene was like, I could just imagine McG behind the camera, like, all right, so as you take your top off, cup them and turn really seductively over to Marcus and stare at him while he's not looking at you. And then he slowly turns going, the fuck are you doing back there?
Get in your fucking shower, lady. We got things to do.
So they can't have Arnold's
Schwansticker.
I mean,
this.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like you kind of
have.
Yeah.
They gotta have something else.
Yeah. But it wasn't in the theatrical version, so you don't get to see Moon Bloodgood's boobs.
Sorry, dude.
Boobies.
So if you want to see them,
it's okay. I have my own.
Watch the director's cut for Terminator Salvation. There you go. That's how you're gonna find.
You have a life. He has a life.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
I have a glass of drink. I have a drink right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was like so just like, and I remember reading about it, about the fact that they had that scene and Mick G thought it was egregious, so that's why he cut it from the original version. And I'm like, why did you need to make the director's cut and add that scene? It just didn't.
You just release the movie and not do the director's cut.
I mean, I saw this movie in theaters, so like you don't see that. And then I don't even remember why when I bought this Blu-ray and I remember watching it on Blu-ray. I don't remember that scene. Maybe because so the director's cut is a completely different disc. So you have your director's cut and then you have your theatrical cut with your special features on another disc. So I probably just didn't watch the director's cut the first time. I don't know. Stupid. A lot of unnecessary money. So there it is. This also had Bryce Dallas Howard.
It did.
I love Bryce Dallas Howard. She doesn't. I mean, she's great. All right, she's one of the best parts of the Jurassic World trilogy. And she did good in this movie. You know, for what her character was given, which wasn't a lot. I'm wondering if she was actually pregnant in real life, and that's why her character was.
That's what I'm looking.
Because they never John never reacts to her, other than he like touches her belly a couple times, but there's never like feel like there should have been like that moment where like he's like, you know, he's about to go off to Skynet to stop him, and it's like, oh, he's got to say goodbye to his wife, but also to his unborn child. It just there was like, where was that scene? I feel like that was necessary, or it was just like Bryce Dallas Howard was pregnant at the time the movie was made, which could have happened. I know I think she was pregnant during one of the Jurassic World movies as well. Not that really matters, but yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes they can hide it if they're early into the pregnancy.
Because she was married in 2006.
First child was 2007. Second was 2012.
Okay, so
it was probably just.
I just wasn't.
Yeah.
This had Common, who was. I'm very hit and miss with Common. He can either be really dramatic and he can do a good job and be kind of menacing, and then there's this role, and I was like, I'm just not afraid of this guy.
Apparently, she gave birth not long before.
Oh well, I mean
they started filming.
Oh, okay. Listen, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, no. I'm just stating like in the fact of like we'll get into a deep dive. Bryce Dallas Howard, was she pregnant or not?
Conspiracy. Whoa.
No.
I just always like how they work
it
in, because there's been in Marvel movies, there's been people that have been pregnant during Scarlett Johansson was pregnant during one of them. And
not that it's Disney Plus, but like the actress who played the Lady Loki.
Yeah,
she was pregnant through the entire production. It's really cool. Yeah, it's cool how they either incorporate it into the story, like if they're too far along, where it's like you can't really hide it unless you spend a lot of money to use digital effects to hide, you know, what's there.
Like they did to what's her face in Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
she was pregnant during that. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they CG'd it out.
Pregnancy movies coming up. Episode coming up.
When she's climbing out of the trenches toward the end, she was pregnant at that time.
Oh, interesting.
And they like
they did a damn sight better job they did on fucking Henry Cavill's mustache. That's for sure. Fuck. Jeez.
What do you mean? They should have just kept the mustache. Just had mustache Superman.
I want stash. Oh, porn star Superman. Come on.
Listen, when it comes to the movie that he needed the mustache for, over watching that shit ass movie, I'm gonna watch Mission Impossible Fallout because it's a better movie, which is the movie he was doing that he needed that mustache. So
he was a villain in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it was really good. I love the Mission Impossible series. I can't wait to cover that franchise.
I haven't watched any since I think second.
I think I've watched part of the original.
Oh God, you stopped it.
All of it.
It's okay. You stopped it too because you were like, this movie's awful.
I don't think we finished it.
Tom Cruise hanging by one arm on the side of a mountain.
Oh!
Dun, 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 dun. With his long locks.
I'm like, he finished what he started in the first one. Why go why keep going with it?
That's the thing about Mission Impossible, though. That franchise is one that just gets better as they keep coming out. Like, it just, like, I just watched the newest trailer and I was just like, I can't wait for this movie. And it's a 2-parter, too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's also had Helena Bonham Carter for about 13 seconds.
And I was like, I knew she was in it, but I was like, what does she play?
Well, longer than that, she's at the beginning and the end, technically.
Yeah.
But
and then I looked it up and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So I guess Tim Burton was the one that influenced her to take the role, even though she knew that it wasn't going to be a huge role because they were together at the time. And I guess she had like 4 members of her family died, like
right before they were
right before they were due to film.
Yeah,
so they had to delay production for all of that, and then she literally, I think it took like 10 days for her to film her, between everything that she did. But like, oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah. I was like, that's terrible.
I'm going to probably be the odd person out on this. And it's no offense to her anyway. I am not a fan of her at all. I don't care for her whatsoever. I just don't
Sweeney
care
Todd.
For her.
Yes.
I've seen that movie.
I got him to watch it.
Angela, we're going to talk about this when we do our Stranger Things episode, but the guy who's obsessed with Joanna is Vecna.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't know until like a week after I watched the end of that season. I was like, no way. I love that movie.
Yeah, because I kept seeing him in stuff, and I was like, man, he looks so familiar. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, yeah.
Everybody listening right now is like, talk about Terminator, damn it. Like, no.
Sweeney Todd's one of the few musicals that I actually like and or tolerate. It's like that, and then Dr. Horrible.
I am on the same page as you. I am not a musical type of person. I am not about to watch a musical unless it's a Disney movie and I know what I'm going into. I also have children, so I'm gonna watch those anyways.
I made him watch Chicago.
I just can't get into those. But like Sweeney Todd, I mean, for one, you say, hey, Johnny Depp's in this, and it's Tim Burton behind it. I'm down. I'm always on board. I don't give a shit if he sings. Give it to me now. And Alan Rickman's in it.
Yeah, he is. That's correct.
It's just really good.
Now I want to watch it.
So yeah, Terminator Salvation.
We finally made it around.
We're back, guys. We're back. We're back talking about this fucking movie. No. All right, we're gonna go around the room as we always do and talk about what we thought of the movie after our latest viewing. So we're gonna start. Who went last time?
I did.
Don't ask me to remember.
Go first.
Angela, start us off.
Don't always go first.
I always go first. Now you go ahead and go first this time. Wait, hang on. No, go ahead.
I can say that I like this one better than I did the last one. By far. I actually paid attention through this whole one because the last one I was like, I'm good. About halfway through it, I'm like, kind of stopped taking notes, and I was like, okay. But no, I love Christian Bale. I loved Marcus as a character. Words. I love the little girl that played Star. I thought she did a really good job for having no lines. I don't even think she had one. She said one word.
Nope.
She did really good. I could have taken or left Kate in this. I know you love Bryce Dallas Howard, but just her section.
Well, her relevant. Realistically, she wasn't super relevant to the movie. Like, to be honest.
I enjoyed I thought the CG work was really well done. The practical effects were really well done. The bike bots, I don't know what they're called.
The Moto.
I think they're called Decepticons. Carry on.
I thought those were really well done. But I would watch it again. I definitely would watch it again.
You know, so those kind of come off the one robot's legs.
Yeah.
Could you call them almost crotch rockets?
Yes.
Is that where we're going with this? Is that what the thought was?
Okay. Didn't think of that at all. Like,
it just hit me now while we were talking about it.
Oh.
Yeah. See, I've been thinking before we started this, I'm like, I really need to come up with more to say than I liked this movie. I thought it was good.
And
I had so much that I was thinking about. But yeah, Christian Bale has probably been the best John Connor as far as the adult.
It's not a lot of competition.
I know, he doesn't
and
have
it doesn't get any better.
I just thought he did a really good job. I liked what they did with Marcus's character. Moonblood Good did a good job as her character. It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie I believe will be the consensus. I like this better than the prior film. I can't say it's as good as 1 or 2, but it is definitely a much better film than 3. All the characters I thought did a good job for their roles. Like she said, Christian Bale. I like Anton Yelchin. I thought he did a good job as a young Kyle Reese. And I kind of like how they leaned into the last movie and like how the whole time travel's kind of like with stuff. It's sorry. I mean, it's okay. But yeah, everybody else did. Sam Worthington, I liked his character. I like what they did with him. I thought that was a good alteration. I like the setting of it not being like two guys come back, two guys from the future, go. Two guys from the future, go. Two guys from the future, go. And like, it's not that anymore. They did something different, and I respect that. I did not miss this movie being R-rated at all. Watching this, I didn't feel like, something was left out because it wasn't R-rated. No, nothing. I'm not even worried about that. I didn't even know. If he didn't say nothing about the tits, doesn't matter. Like, as far as the film goes, but the Terminator movies were never ridiculously violent to begin with.
No.
I mean, they had their moments, but like as far as like truly needing that R rating to get your point across, no, I didn't need it at all.
It's violence, but there's like not like blood splatter everywhere. Like,
but even then, I thought they kind of pushed the envelope a little bit for even PG-13 for some of the violence in this show. That being said, I enjoy it. I recommend it, and I thought it was a nice change of pace and a breath of fresh air coming after the third one, doing something different.
To add on to mine, I like the callback to some of the movies.
Yeah.
The where they put in certain lines in places.
Oh yeah.
But you know that they've said it before, so it wasn't like, or where did this come from? We're just gonna kind of work it in here.
But like but I thought some of the references were more tastefully done than I've seen in other movies, where they're like, hey, here's some cool callbacks, or like where they'll say a line of dialogue, but they don't deliver it the exact same way. The characters will be like, hey, let's do this line as a wink, wink, homage. It's just kind of like, it's in there, but they play it more naturally. And it feels more naturally than I've felt it in other movies or noticed in other franchises. So,
yeah.
Definitely better than the last one.
Oh, God, yeah.
This movie holds up. Joe Lascolo was right. He said this movie holds up, and it does.
It does.
And I enjoyed this movie before everyone started hating it, or when people, like, I remember seeing this in theaters and coming out of the theater going, wow, that was good. I like the fact that we finally see the future that they've always talked about. I like Christian Bale as John Connor. You know, he's not perfect. I think his line delivery in some of the scenes are kind of stale. And he's kind of all over the place with his emotions, but I guess when you live in a dystopian future, it can be that way. His speeches are the ones that really threw me off. Every time he'd make a speech, I'm like, oh man, I feel like this should be so much more intense, and it kind of isn't.
Yeah, they didn't match up.
Yeah. You get to see all these new Terminators, and like the way, like you're seeing Skynet in control. You're seeing how they are controlling the world, you know, with all of their different Terminators. You know, you have the Moto Terminators, which are the motorcycles, and you got that massive robot that literally those motorcycles came out of, and you get to see cool. Like the prior models, the T600s.
Yeah, well, they're cool. I like those.
Yeah, those, you know, and this is the origin, and this is ultimately the origin of the T800, which is what Arnold was in the first three films. So you're getting to see the origin of, like, they're seeing Skynet evolving their technology and creating the more perfect killing machine. And I thought that was a really cool concept, and I think they executed it pretty well. And even though we don't get Arnold in this movie, we still get Arnold, you know, in his digital form.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I feel you had to, if you're going to see with this, the T800 is the new big thing. You got to have Arnold's, even, you know, the resemblance of him be that first thing that John Connor sees.
Yep.
I mean, dude had a body.
Yeah, because we were talking about the guy that did they modeled her off or whatever he did the likeness for.
Yep. So I've read multiple reports, that one of them was that he didn't give consent to have his likeness, and then there was one that said he did. So I guess the way that the studio went around using his likeness without his permission was they used like an even younger version of him as the likeness. Like his face is even younger than what he was in the Terminator.
It does look a little different.
They had some weird loophole that made it so it was okay, so Arnold couldn't sue them. But and then I think eventually he just didn't care. Because there was plans for him to be in the movie, but he was the governor of California at the time.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do it.
Too busy.
Yeah. Don't worry. He comes back.
He'll be back later.
Yeah. This was the last film that Stan Winston worked on. He actually died during production. And it's dedicated to him, of course, at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's why the visual effects look so damn good. Yes, there are some blue screen issues. There are some scenes where people are standing against a blue backdrop with an image pasted on it, and it's like, ooh, they didn't really tweak that too well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the way the Terminators looked and anything that was digital, it looked awesome. And they used practical effects in this movie.
Yeah, and the digital Terminators moved a lot better. The 600s and 800s moved a lot more naturally, I felt.
The first one you see that's split in half moves smooth. But it still moves.
But it still moves like it has weight to it, though. It's not just like floating.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's got something there.
Right. Like it's clawing, like it's hitting its arms against the ground. You can actually you feel like you can feel that movement. Yeah, really, really cool. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Stan Winston was when it came to visual effects and all that. I mean, he was the wizard, as they called him. And it was a sad time because Stan Winston Studios still exists, and he's got a lot of people who worked under him that still do stuff today. They do great work, but Stan Winston's designs and everything that he did I don't think can be beat.
I concur.
So ultimately, yes, I enjoyed this film. It holds up still to this day. And for everyone who doesn't like this movie, it's okay. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
We like
I didn't realize so many people didn't like it, but I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Listen, people were upset that we didn't like Terminator 3, okay? People like Terminator 3. That's fine. And we said in the episode, you can like the movie. We just didn't.
Yeah.
Same here. Like, we're going to say, we all said we liked this movie, and people were like, well, this movie sucks.
I was expecting a strong divide for one of these. Because, we have a few where I'm just like the odd man out. I'm like, fuck that. Yeah. But,
All right. You guys ready to talk about the plot?
Absolutely. Let's rock through this.
All right. So we get the opening, the crawl and everything that, says who was in the movie. And we get the new theme. It's kind of dark. It's sometimes you're kind of listening. You're like, is there actually something playing right now? It's kind of low. And then right as it says Terminator Salvation, you get the dun, 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 and it's deafening. I have to go to the doctors now to get checked.
Yeah.
Because that's how loud it was. But
my ears are still ringing.
Yeah. I was so happy I heard the theme. Even if it was only for a split second.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens to, we get Helena Bonham Carter's character talking with Marcus, played by Sam Worthington, and he is in prison. And I guess he's in prison for murder. He murdered a couple cops and his brother. And so he's going to get executed.
He knows what he did. He's like, yep, I deserve to be here.
She's there to talk to him about donating his body once he dies to, at the time, it's Cyberdyne. But you don't really know what it's for. He's just signing over the rights, and you get this scene. When I heard this line, I was like, ooh, this is fucked up. Where he looks at her because she's sick. She's got cancer. And he states that he will sign if she gives him a kiss. And she kisses him. And once it's done, he goes, oh, that's what death tastes like. And I was like,
that was a fucking stab.
Fuck, man.
Like wow.
That's Jesus.
Might as well just killed her right there in the cell.
Oh my God.
Brutal as fuck.
Holy shit. So yeah, so he ends up signing it, and then we go to the execution scene where I don't think they do this anymore. I don't think this is the way they do lethal injection anymore, where they strap you to the bed and then they can kind of like take out the bed, then it like puts it up and they're like, any last words? And he says no, and then they're like, all right, lay back down again.
Yeah.
No, I think that's just kind of an extra step that doesn't need to be there. No offense.
So they pump him full of all the fun stuff, and it goes black. We get an opening crawl that pretty much just sums up everything that's happened throughout the Terminator movies. About how, back in this year, the Skynet went, they went sentient and took over the world and nuked the world, and they're in control, blah, blah, blah. You all know the story.
Mm-hmm.
It is 2018. So we beat it, guys.
Yep,
we made it.
We're ahead of it. No, we've only delayed it. It's inevitable. No!
John Connor and his group attack a Skynet facility. You also find out John Connor is not the head of the resistance. Like, he's not the leader. But I guess there's a prophecy of some sort, because they do mention it a couple times. And I guess they go down there and they discover that Skynet's experimenting with humans.
Yeah, there's like captured humans in there.
Yep. And for a split second, you see Marcus's body. Like, if you're not paying attention, you don't see him. But for an instance, you just see his lifeless body on the table.
Yep.
What are you doing there?
Yeah. And but there's still a lot of humans like still alive, and it kind of gives you like a Resident Evil type feel, because they all are moaning like they're zombies. I'm like, what the freak? And of course, Connor wants to rescue everybody, but everybody's always against everything he states.
Oh yeah.
But they also discover that Skynet is building a new Terminator, the T600. And they're like, "Oh, well, I guess you were right about that, John." He's like, "Yeah, I had to fight one. Well, actually, my mom fought one, and then I was best friends with another, and then another one was we were pretty cool with." So we're kind of tight. The D and T800s, we're gonna make them good friends.
The last time a T800 was, I didn't really do a whole lot. I just kind of moped around. He did all the work. Him and my wife did all the work. I didn't do shit.
He carried me in a casket, and somehow I survived. I don't know.
Pre-wife.
Nut up, John. Sorry.
So it's time to go topside. John is sent up there. So Terry Crews was supposed to be in this movie a lot more, but instead all you do is see his dead body. And you're like, "Hey, Terry." Just
bye.
just leaning up against a rock with his eyes open. So yeah, I guess he was
spice.
So yeah, I guess he was supposed to have a more prominent role, but they cut it, and so this is what we get for Terry Crews.
He was
it just threw me off for a second. I was like, "Oh, hey, Terry."
Yeah, it just says you go to the credits, it's Terry Crews' corpse.
So John goes up and down on the chopper. So he gets into the chopper, and the whole place explodes. And John's in control of the helicopter, but he can't control it, and he ends up crashing it. And when he's getting out of it, he gets attacked by half of a T600. And this thing is menacing.
Yeah,
like the fact that it has the same, so it looks like a T800, but it's a lot more bulky and slow. That's why they're creating the T800, because it can make it faster and more agile and all that shit. But it looks like a T800. It's got the same head and all that, but it's only half of its body, which is kind of a cool throwback to Terminator 1 when Sarah's getting chased by half of the T800 at the end. So I thought that was a pretty cool nod. But yeah, he's just getting tossed around by half of a freaking T600, and he ends up killing it with the mounted gun that's on the side of the helicopter, which I thought was a cool kill. And it took so long for its eyes to not glow red anymore, like to fade out. I was like, all right.
I was like, it's not dead yet.
Also, I want to mention before when they land, before they go into the facility, when the helicopter lands on the head of one of the T600s, I thought that was a cool shot before you actually see John and everybody for the first time. I thought that was cool. So after everything blows up, John gets the hell out of there, and we then see a very muddy man pop out of the ground. It was like the ground was giving birth.
Sir, do you need a shower?
And Marcus and his very muddy dingaling come waddling over, and he's muddy, and it's raining. It's always raining. It's always raining in this movie.
Always.
And he's screaming. Ah! He screams a lot in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, he does. That's true. He does.
He steals an outfit from a dead soldier, and I love when he's asked about it later from Kyle. He's like, "Hey, where'd you get that outfit?" And he's like, "Well, the other guy didn't need it."
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong.
He's not wrong. But it's the same it kind of looks like the same jacket that Kyle wears in Terminator 1.
Looks very similar.
The one that he takes from
from the
one he takes from the homeless guy who probably gave it to him and then was like, "No! Ah, he took my pants."
Get that man.
So I love this scene where he's just like, John Connor's just like, "Hey, take me to the I think it was like the Resistance Stronghold or something, which is a sub
headquarters or
headquarters.
Command.
Yeah. And they're like, "You're fucking crazy, dude." And it's just over the open ocean. He just drops in. You're like, "What the?"
I was like, "Where's he going?"
I was terrified.
He's like, "Hey, tell command to make sure to leave the fucking front door open." He just out in the middle of the ocean.
He's trying to open the hatch underwater. It's like, you can't do that.
Like,
you let it all in.
Yeah.
John, the surf's looking a little choppy there. You sure you want to jump in?
Guess what, guys? This is our second movie where we get to talk about Michael Ironside.
Yep.
Because he's here, everybody. So before filming, he broke a few vertebrae in his back. He was roofing his house and he fell. I guess he fell off his roof.
Yep.
And so that's why he never sits in this movie, because he was in excruciating pain throughout the whole thing.
At least he's a trooper to do it. I thought he just
he's a badass, man. You look at this guy and you're like, I would not fuck with him ever.
Dude, if you got the money that guy has, why wouldn't you just pay somebody to do your roof?
Because he's probably old school, you know? He likes to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
Hey, I respect it. I'm not that type of person. I would be the guy who pays somebody to. I mean, listen, I paid someone to do my roof. Because fuck that.
There you go.
He'd be up to retard his own roof.
Was it expensive? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes.
Mr. Simpson, the tar fumes are making me woozy. Yeah, they'll do that.
Oh, Lord. So he's here. He's, I guess, the leader of the resistance. He's like the head honcho here. And he's got a cool, like, Russian... I guess he's probably the sub-captain, right?
I think so. I don't remember his name, but I know what you're talking about.
I liked him because he was more reasonable. This douche was a douche.
Yeah?
Because this is the second time where we hear something about the prophecy about John. And he was right about the T800s, which was something he probably should have been praised for. But the fact is, like, after that, this dude listens to nothing John says. He's like, "Nah, we're going to do it this way." He's like, "What the?"
Yep.
So they found out a solution to, I guess, slow down the machines. So I guess it's some sort of signal that interferes with their transmissions. And
because
it's like the signal that they have, it like disrupts it, and it can, you can take control of it, or it just causes things to crash.
Yeah, because it interrupts, because they communicate via shortwave, and it interrupts that.
Yeah.
What?
Communicate.
Yeah, communicate.
It's a new word, everybody.
Quaker Oats.
It's magically delicious. No, that's the wrong one.
I love Lucky Charms. It's my favorite cereal, but go ahead.
So John immediately volunteers for this mission. He's like, "I got it." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even finish what I was saying." He's like, No, I'm going to do it.
Just give me the fucking code. I'll do it.
All right. So they also find out that there's a kill list by Skynet. Like, they have like their priorities, who they're looking for. And they say that you're number 2, John. And he's like, "Well, who's number 1?" They're like, Kyle Reese, a civilian.
Some nobody.
And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, Papa?
Puppy. It's like, how are you going to explain this? You're my dad, but you're younger than me.
You're my dad, but you're only 18. It's fine. We'll get there.
Weird.
Yeah. You're going to bang my mom in the past.
Dun, 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 dun.
Here's a picture you can do things with later.
Just
not around me.
Yeah. Rub.
No wonder our demographic on YouTube is 98.3% male and
because rubbing is relatable.
Oh man.
Women can do it too.
Yeah, it's an equal opportunity situation.
Don't do that. That's gross. As far as every woman ever has ever said, they don't do that. They never, ever, ever do that. Ever.
What is happening right now? Holy shit. Okay, I guess we can't talk a Terminator movie without
15 years.
Fucking sex jokes of some sort.
Oh, dude, I was gonna go further. I just figured for lube, they just use like when they just crack open a T800, like oil, and just go time.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm not even gonna apologize for anything. John goes back to base. We're gonna go back to base where he runs into Common, who has the most nonchalant response to finding out his brother just died. Did my brother didn't make it? He shakes his head.
No words.
And is just like,
oh, okay.
And we move on. And we see Kate, my girl.
Okay.
Love you, Bryce. John listens to tapes from his mom, which is really cool. I love Linda Hamilton does make an appearance. Her voice is in this movie, and it's new recordings. It's not anything old.
Oh,
this is actually Linda Hamilton came in and actually did some voice recordings for these tapes.
I was reading,
really cool.
reading the trivia, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
And then John and Kate, they talk about trying to find Kyle. They're like, I gotta find my papa, and she's like,
"Hi, puppy,
daddy."
Oh Lord. So this is where we get our really bad blue screen where Marcus is standing in front of the Hollywood sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, ooh, they did not blend this in well. There you see like the fuzziness around his body and the background is kind of, I'm like, oof. Somebody did not look at this when they were editing to make sure this was a little bit crisper, but whatever. The next scene is it looks all practical where he's walking down the middle of the street. I just love he's just walking. He sees the T600 in the distance, and he's just like, "Hey,
yeah,
hey Ezekiel,
what's your name? What is your name, Tony?"
I wish I remembered that whole. I wish I remembered that whole bit. I fucking love that.
Fuck you, Tony.
What's your name? Ezekiel. Fuck you, Ezekiel.
So he just screams at the T600 because he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what year it is. He doesn't know what the fuck is happening. So he sees something in the distance and he's just like, oh, somebody might know what's happening. Not this somebody. He sees human kill.
It's just a humanoid shape. And he doesn't.
He doesn't know what it is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just love that scene. He's like, hey, and that Terminator's like, and there's this like long pause.
Yeah.
Dump, like, shit.
I like the design of the T600s because it was when Skynet was trying to do the whole humanoid Terminator, but it just didn't look very good. So you have like he's wearing like boots and it's got like the pant, like it looked like he was wearing all like an outfit, but it like ended up like burning off and it's all like hanging off him. And there's actually, it isn't this T600, but there's another T600 later that actually has like skin hanging off its face because they tried to do some weird shit. It was like fucking, is this like what Leatherface would look like in the future?
Well, they referenced this in the first one because they talked about well, we could tell the old ones apart because they had their skin was like rubber and they didn't move.
Yeah, that's what Kyle talks. That's what Kyle explains to Sarah in the first one when they're driving. So yeah, it's cool to find. That's why I think this movie does so well because you get to see these things.
Yeah,
you get to see the future. Yeah,
yeah.
It's not just ham-fisted. Yeah, and it's
exactly.
not like ham-fisted. Like here's this just because it's like no, it makes sense. It's fluid. it progresses the story and it goes, oh shit, I remember when they talked about that. It's not like the subtle, like, yeah, they do the I'll be back and they do the come with me if you want to live, which literally is the scene. But like, it's not like, oh, that just sounded wrong. That just doesn't fit.
It just feels more natural in this movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
So the T600 starts to shoot at Marcus and he's like, what the fuck? He hides behind a school bus. And that's when Kyle Reese, what am I doing the Indiana Jones theme song for? But he slides.
I'm going with it.
He slides into home base and he's like, come with me if you want to live. And I was like, oh, there it is, guys. And they go.
At least it's the right character to say it, though.
It is, yeah.
It's not just some random schmuck.
So they go up to the roof of this building, and Kyle's got a little friend. Her name is Star, and she's a badass. They had this whole booby trap set up. What did they do? They dropped something on the Terminator. It's pinned under it.
For a vehicle.
Yeah. No, well, that was when they squish it.
Oh yeah, when they squished it. Yeah.
But I think didn't they drop something on it before where it like pins itself, but then it gets out from it and then it starts shooting the front of the building. Maybe I'm thinking of a different scene.
It was like just this heavy it almost looked like, if I remember right, it almost looked like I-beams and stuff, just like in a big thing that just dropped on top of it or some shit. It's like a bunch of heavy crap.
Yeah, and then they're up there. She cuts the line and it drops this massive thing on top of it, and it squishes it. And he immediately deactivates. Just his eyes, he's done. But yet that other one was like took like forever.
Yeah,
it was trying to survive. It's like don't
reboot, fuck,
reboot.
Alt F4.
Yeah.
So after all this is over, they're trying to figure out
the scene. It's like Alt F4, reboot. You have these programs running. Yes. You want to reboot anyway? Like, yes, reboot. That's what took so long.
Everybody's like, didn't they make this joke last week? Probably.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Damn it, Terminator.
It's like Jurassic Park where they're rebooting the computer and it's just that one white line on the top that flashes before it actually reboots. You're just waiting for that to pop up in the Terminator's vision there.
Go faster.
God damn it. That's me every time I start my computer. I just yell at it because it's so fucking slow.
Yeah.
So Marcus, after everything is done, they want to know who Marcus is. So they're, Kyle's a little hesitant. He points a gun at him. And Marcus takes the gun out of his hand, points it at him, and he said, if you're going to point a gun at somebody, be prepared to pull the trigger. Was that used in another one? Was that a line that was you? I swear to God. When I heard him say the line.
Yes.
It would have had to been in the first one then, wouldn't it?
I think so. I think Kyle says it to Sarah. Sarah points a gun at him and he takes it from her and says the same.
He might.
Oh no, I think he said it to a cop when he's getting chased and the cop holds him up and I think he takes the cop's gun.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Maybe.
It was in the first Terminator. Listen, we talked about it. Doesn't mean I remember.
Yeah, I know I've heard it.
All I know is this is a line taken from another Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Spoken by Kyle himself. So they go back to like their little headquarters because they are the resistance division of Los Angeles. And it's just them. It's just Kyle and Star. And they're having some coyote for dinner. 2-day-old coyote because it's better than 3-day-old coyote. Exactly. That line was great. I was like, all right, that's clever. Must be like jerky. They're like, good. This is where this was something else that was brought back from the first one. So this is kind of, I guess, how Kyle learned how to do the shotgun thing from the first one. You know how he cuts the barrel and then he attaches it to his arm, so like no one can take the gun. He uses that same trick in the first Terminator, which I thought was cool. Like this is where he learned it from. Like, okay,
Marcus, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, like I said, it's little shit like this that, like, if you watch them, like you get like, oh, that's cool, Manad.
Yeah, but see, I read that in the trivia and told you, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, when you brought it up, though, I was like, oh yeah, shit, because I didn't think about that.
So they hear John's first of many calls in this movie, calling out to the resistance, pretty much stating like, if you can hear this, you are the resistance, stay strong, fight, all that crap. So this is when John, I think, and his crew are doing the experiment with the aqua fucking hydrobot. And which kind of reminded me of Transformers.
Yeah.
Like this was a scene this was literally taken straight from Transformers 1, where they cut the tail off of the Scorpion fucking Terminator, and then they got the tail and they're trying to strap it to it kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, so they're trying to figure out the whole signal thing. So if they have it to a certain frequency, it like shuts off the Terminator. Like it shuts them down. And then if they turn it back, and then it'll turn itself back on once that frequency is gone. And so they figured out what to do. So they're going to put it into place. We then go back to Marcus. He's fixing up a Jeep, which this Jeep is in pretty damn good shape for being in the future in the apocalypse.
Because he asked them where to get if they know where to get a vehicle from, because they said you can't just run, you have to go fast.
Yeah, I feel like Colin Trevorrow, when he was writing the script for Jurassic World, was just like, see, they did it in Terminator, it makes sense for this one when the kids put a goddamn battery in a Jeep that's been in the woods since 1993 and it just runs.
Just starts right up.
Yeah, because that gas is perfectly fine, just like in this movie. So yes, that is an inconsistency. If I bitch about that, I have to bitch about that in this movie.
Like, how far away is this from where they were? Because in this scene before, when he's asking like what year it is and what not, and they're like, "Oh, get down," and the building starts shaking, and the hunter killer comes by and makes the building collapse.
Yeah,
like, everything's gonna be covered in rubble and dust, and it's not gonna run as good as.
I forgot to mention about the hunter killer showing up after that T600 gets squished.
Yeah.
But they hide from it.
It doesn't affect.
It's really nothing. It's really nothing too important.
Skynet's everywhere, dude.
Yeah. There you go. So they turn on the star turns on the radio and it plays a song. I don't remember what song it was, but
I do. It's Alice in Chains.
Yes.
It's
Rooster.
Rooster, yes.
Yeah. Yep. And so this was another inconsistency where Kyle goes, "What is that?" And Marcus goes, "Oh, something my brother used to listen to." So Kyle doesn't know about music because he was born after Judgment Day. So music is kind of not a thing. And how is this radio working? Is there a CD still in that car?
I'm assuming there will be a CD in it.
That's
the only way it would still go, because there in theory shouldn't be radio signal.
No.
Not for music anyway. So Kyle questions it because he doesn't know what it is. But then later, when they're driving away, he goes, "Oh," because Marcus never says what it is. He just goes, "It's something my brother used to listen to." Mm-hmm. That's the line. And then they're driving away from the little drone, like the spotter drone or whatever it was. Yeah.
And Kyle goes, "Oh, they must have heard the music." You didn't know what it was. Marcus didn't state what it was, but yet you know it's music?
Well, okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah. He may know what music is, but maybe not that kind of music.
I mean,
because people probably still sing.
How are they?
No,
I'm just kidding. No. I mean, that could be it, though. I mean,
he may have heard what music is from other people, just not have heard that, because that's before his time.
Yeah.
Even if there wasn't Judgment Day, it would have been before his time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, but he could still have stories from people that were around before then. So
they're getting chased by this drone, which identifies Kyle Reese. And for someone who's never driven before, he drives pretty fucking well.
He does.
He's fucking pulling that e-brake.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, damn. He's like, "That's the first time I've ever driven." I was like, what?
Nah.
But
lies.
it can come up later.
I guess it's like a fight or flight type thing, he's trying to escape something. He's just got to figure it out.
Yep.
So
he has things though.
He has things.
He has things in his head that we don't
know
yet.
No. We're talking about
not Kyle.
We're talking about Kyle Reese driving.
Yeah, not Marcus.
Not Marcus. Marcus would because
Kyle states he's never driven before.
Yeah,
he drives very well.
He drives first, and then Marcus is like, no.
He's
I'm driving the rest.
And he just fucking throws him out. He's just like, ah.
Yeah, it's before they've switched. That's right.
So they get to a gas station where they think is a group of resistance, but it's actually just people just trying to survive. They're just hunkered down at this gas station, avoiding Skynet, avoiding everything, just living their life, but somehow have a lot of fresh food. Where are they getting this? I guess they're growing it themselves.
Back pocket.
But so this is one of those moments where it's just like this, like what would you do type situation where they go in, they're just trying to find gas, and of course, the guy's like, we barely have enough gas for ourselves. Like, no. Mm-hmm. But then you have this kind older lady coming out. She's like, come on. They're, look at her. We can't just let him go, and she hasn't eaten. And instead of just feeding her, she just gets a basket full of shit and just gives it to us, like, eat up. And the guy's like, what the fuck? That's our food. Yeah. And then he stands up to her, which I thought was like a natural thing that should have happened. Like, yeah, fuck you, lady. Who made you the goddamn leader of this place? And that's when the big boy, I don't even know what model this thing is.
No idea.
But it just starts yoinking people out of this gas station. And the first one being the kind old lady.
It's a T very large.
Yes. It's a T prison because it has a compartment that it throws all of the people into. And this was a really cool scene. I like the whole shootout here, like the people like leaving and the people blaming them for coming and bringing them here, and just like a natural reaction is like, yeah, it kind of sucks for them because they were fine, and then these three just wandered in, and then like Skynet's here now.
Yeah, right.
Because Kyle was identified.
People are just getting murked left and right or snatched up.
So everybody's running away, and they end up. Oh God, I love pop-ups. Get out of here!
Up and down headlights.
Pop-up video. So they. So I like it when they get into the tanker and they drive it up to the big Terminator prison thing, and then Kyle does the same kind of thing that he does in Terminator 1, where he hangs out the side of the vehicle and does the shoots, and then he reloads it with one hand.
Yeah.
And shoots it again, and he's like, it's not working. And then that's when Star gives Marcus a flare, and he throws the flare, and it blows up the tank, and you're like, hey, the big Terminator's dead. Nah. That thing comes out just like, ugh, fuck you.
Well, see, that's what we were talking about. I was like, oh shit, they're going to do this movie proper because that tank would not explode just by shooting it with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't. I mean, it's not how it would work. So and I thought that was like, oh, you're being smart. And the fact that it survived from it. Because, I mean, it's going to blow up, but it's like a gas explosion. It's not like high explosives.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
So what it does, because it's like, yeah, I'm not chasing after this thing. I'm too big for that. So it releases these little motorcycles, or as Dan would call them, crotch rockets.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just mad because you didn't fucking think of it.
Oh Lord. So yeah, they release the two crotch rockets there. They chasing them, and this is a really cool scene as well, where they end up tying. I think they like throw a line out, which then like ties it. One gets like taken out by one of the cars that's kind of just on the side of the road, and then the other one they attach a line to, and they just drag it behind them.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, dude. Like, there's some neat set piece like scenes in this movie. Yeah. Quite a few, actually.
They get to a bridge, and a hunter-killer shows up, and starts shooting at it. But I love that the bike that's being dragged, when he turns to avoid the hunter killer, it whips it into the engine of the hunter killer, which then causes it to crash.
Yeah.
But they're kind of dangling off the side of the bridge, Kyle and Star, and the Terminator prison thing snatches him up, and Marcus is like, no, once again, and then jumps off.
Which is cool because you see how they work, where the capture bots, the big ones, actually dock with that ship on top, and then they just put people inside and shit. It's really cool.
Really cool design. Yeah, and then Marcus jumps into the river. And as all this is going on, John hears about, like, he sees everything. He's like, they've never been this close before to, like, their base. So he calls in the air support, which is Blair and some other person.
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
And they go in to shoot down the hunter killers. Unfortunately, they get one of them, which I like how it, like, so when Marcus hits the water, it isn't just a fucking splash, man. This man bounces like a rock being skipped across, man.
Like, poor Marcus.
But then he comes up for air, and then the freaking hunter killer freaking just drops down. So Blair gets chased around by one of the smaller hunter killers and gets shot down. And I like how John has to tell her to eject. Like, are you not smart enough to figure this out?
That's what I was talking about. I'm like, I didn't know this was part Top Gun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Evasive maneuvers.
Yep.
The handle's not working.
So
tell me what to do, Goose.
So she ejects and ends up getting, like, she's like attached to a tree. She's like tangled up in the tree. And Marcus runs into her, climbs up and cuts her down. Yeah.
A broken tower.
Yeah, like an electrical tower or something like that.
And no joke, I swear to God, the first time that she sees Marcus, it's instant. Hey.
Yeah.
Like, she wants him the whole time.
How you doing?
She's like, all right. It's been a while. It's been pretty fucking terrible here. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot less to pick from these days.
So she's like, yeah, I'll bring you to my base. It's going to be about 2 days walk. And he's like, all right, I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So Kyle, and this is where they show Kyle and Star and, like, the transport getting taken to Skynet. And you got that, just the dude who's freaking out in there. He's like, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. And he's like, you need to chill the fuck out. And then he goes, you know what we need to do right now? We need to live. Or I think he said, yeah, we need to live. And I was like, I don't like this. No shit, man. What am I playing? I guess I want to die in this situation.
Stop with the uplifting speeches, please.
Stop.
I get what they were getting at, but there's quite a few of these like out your ass speeches in this movie.
Yeah. It's just all about trying to calm this dude down.
Oh, I know.
So this is where we get the scene that was added. This was the director's cut scene where they go to the gas station, and, you know, Blair's got she's a little dirty, so she's got to shower off in this pouring rain. And you get to see boobies. There you go. That's it. And yeah, it's just a very unnecessary scene, and I get why they cut it out of this movie. So we then get the next scene that was originally cut out of the movie, which is her running into it. And it was in the director's cut, it's very just thrown in there. There's really no, like, smooth transition to the scene. It's kind of like the rain scene happens, and then immediately it's at this scene, and I'm just like, and she's already talking to these people, and I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? So she's talking to these guys, they're scavengers or something, and they're, you know, they come up and they're like, oh, we saw you, and it's like, oh, okay, weirdos.
Yeah. Where this is going.
And she has a good line where she's like, listen, the machines are our enemies. Well, we don't need to do this. He's like, oh, I think we do. And then they attack her. She actually gets the upper hand on a couple of them, but there was so many of them. She gets into a bad situation, and right before something really bad is about to happen, Marcus comes in with a fucking like 2x4 and it was like a rebar. It just fucking cracks this dude right across the jaw. And then proceeds to beat the living shit out of every single one of these guys. And yeah, this was the other one. This was the other added scene to the director's cut. And did they show them at the fire in the theatrical cut where she needs to get close to him because she's cold? And then she looks at him seductively and then goes, "Don't get any ideas. I just need your body warmth." I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Like, you want more. We understand.
Yeah.
This is a shitty, like, it's been a while. You know, you have your needs.
Yeah.
So, you think that she got even more aroused by Marcus when she figured out that he was a Terminator?
We just spoil it.
Who cares? Isn't that the name of the show?
That's fair. That's fair. We're going to build up to it. Fuck, man.
It's okay. I'm almost done with my notes. I'm like, damn, we're already almost done talking about this movie. But I forgot I didn't finish my notes. So it's time to test the signal. John and the other guy, Common's character.
Insert name here.
I can't remember. Barnes. They go to like the side of this hill and they set off an explosion so they can attract a hunter killer and then use the signal to see what it does. And it works. It deactivates it. And then John just whips out a fucking RPG and just blows it up. You're like, all right.
Keep the site clean.
Yeah. And then after that, he calls Michael Ironside and he's just like, "Hey, there are survivors at Skynet. We need to go rescue them." He's like, "That is not the mission." And he's like, "Fuck your mission." And then moves on. So Kyle and Star and all the rest of the people that were taken there at Skynet and they're being processed. Like you see all the T600s guards. Like that's the one where you see like one of them has like the skin that's like hanging off its face and some of them with the ratty clothes and stuff like that. And you get to see the T1s again. And Kyle gets identified. And so he gets taken.
Snatched away. Bye, Kyle.
Snatched again. So Blair and Marcus, they run into a minefield. And, you know, as somebody like me who's seen the movie, you know what you're about to see. They're like, "Oh, it's fine. It's for the Terminators because they're made out of metal. So everything here is magnetic. So it's not, we're all right. We just got to make sure we don't step on one." And one attaches to Marcus's leg and they're like, "What?" And boom.
Boom.
And then immediately
Marcus
in a gurney getting brought into the base. And yeah, he gets this is where you get to see like the first person shot from Marcus's view of Kate, you know, working on him, and then she discovers, you know, what he is, and she's like, Barnes, and then he fucking clocks him with the end of the gun.
Well, at first he's like, "What? Do you have a prosthetic leg?" Because the mine attached to his leg. And then, like, immediately after, she's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh shit!" And so he gets knocked out and strapped up by his Buster Browns. A little job
chained to two axles. Actually, there's a big 1-ton axle above him for like a truck and like a smaller car on his legs. He's just strapped the fuck in there.
So then we get the shot of John talking to him.
I'm picking at her. Don't worry about it.
Oh, stop it. So yeah, John is talking to him, and you know, John is questioning him on things that Marcus has no fucking clue. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's asking him like, "Who made you?" He's like, "What?"
It's like, "I was born at such and such." Like, didn't you say like 1975?
Yeah, he was born in 1975, and like he states a bunch of information. He's like, "Oh, so they finally did it. They made them human, pretty much." And Marcus is still there like, "Well, can someone please tell me what the fuck you're talking about?" And that's when he looks down and he sees that he's not a person. He's lots of machinery in there, but his beating heart is still there. Kind of reminds me of General Grievous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like his heart is the only thing that's vulnerable there. So it doesn't matter what Marcus says. John doesn't really believe him. He thinks that this is all a ploy from Skynet, which you later find out it is.
Yeah.
That this is some way of killing him, finally getting to John. And even like the awkward situation where John goes up to him, he's like, yeah, you went back and you tried to kill my mother, Sarah Connor. And Marcus is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know any of this.
So
listen, I just woke up covered in mud and started yelling. That's all I know. What's going.
So he's still strapped up, and Blair is not about this. She's got that feelings for the Marcus, even though he's metal now, even though he's a Terminator, she's still about him. And Metal Man.
Heart is made of metal, except it's not.
It's the only thing that's not made of metal. And
that and his brain, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
she tricks Barnes, who's the one that's like, he's like torturing him. He just keeps shooting him, but it's not doing anything. He's like, it's painful for Marcus, but it doesn't like hurt him. And she tricks him saying that John needs to see him. And so he leaves, and Blair just fucking undoes the chain and just sends him down like 50 feet to the bottom. And he's a Terminator. He's going to survive. And then she does a really cool run where she runs and grabs the chain and just rappels down. You're like, damn, that's actually pretty cool.
Which I thought was kind of neat when they talk about it, though, because we've talked about this in the other movies, like with T100 or the T800 and stuff like that, about like how he doesn't feel pain, he doesn't react to pain, but he has the skin, he bleeds, all that fun stuff, where he's the opposite. Where, he literally he doesn't know he's a machine. Like, he just thinks, I'm a dude, like, I'm a guy. But this whole time, if you pay attention in the movie, you hear people talk about being hungry, wanting food, getting drink, and you never ever see him eat. You never see him drink. Yep. He never talks about being hungry or thirsty, ever. The only thing you ever mention is when Blair hears his heart, because she's laying on him, like, oh, what a nice, strong heart.
Yep. So, Blair cuts him down. She gets to the bottom. She goes, hey, when you ejaculate, is it oil? And he goes, what? And then they move on.
Yeah, right. Oh
no. I'm sorry. I had to. The joke was in my head. It had to come out.
No, some had to come out. Fuck.
So John's talking to his wife about like Marcus and everything. And that's when Barnes comes in. He's like, hey, you need to see me. He's like, fuck. They go down. They blow the place. I like how Marcus picks up like he rips there's like the thing on the wall. He rips out and he uses it as a shield.
Yeah, because they're like shooting RPG down there. Like,
and he covers her very poorly, but somehow she doesn't get burned and his clothes don't burn.
I'm like, why didn't her hair burn? Because that was like what was exposed, and hair burns.
So they make it outside, and they got to go through the minefield. But Blair's like, I got an idea, and she rolls out this cool thing, and then blows all the mines up.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that.
Really cool.
And so it's just gunfire everywhere. They're trying to avoid things. Blair ends up getting shot, and they do the old switcheroo where you're like, they all converse on him. They're like, oh, we got him. And no, it's Blair wearing his jacket. And guess what? Somehow Marcus is the same size as Blair. He can fit in his jacket perfectly. And you're like, oh, all right. And it's very similar to, he looks like he's wearing the same outfit that the T800 wears in Terminator.
Yeah.
And John pursues him. He does a cool little jump, though, with the motorcycle over the barricade there. And then John's chasing him with the helicopter. And he goes over this little pond. And he's like, where the fuck do you go? And he gets a little too close because those hydrobots are like, hey, surprise, motherfucker. And just...
kill the pilot and shit.
Yeah. And John's like, shit. And he crashes. And I really love the shot of when he gets out of the helicopter and he's shooting at all the hydrobots and shows it from like the sky view where it shows them all swimming towards him and he's shooting at them. And then you get to this, and then it kind of ruins it with the whole thing where like Marcus just comes out of the water, he's like, oh, and tackles it,
hugs it, yeah, boy. That's what I want to do to a shark. Like, where's your hands now, motherfucker? Like, ooh.
I was like, okay, that was a little extreme, but I'll take it. And he wrestles with the hydrobot, and then he kills it. And then John's got the gun pointed at him. He's like, "What are you?" He's like, "Listen, I don't know what the fuck I am, but I can get you into Skynet. Let's do this." I do like that his skin is peeled off his face and so you can see like the exoskeleton underneath. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll get you to Skynet. You just got to trust me." He's like, and that's when he goes, "What are you?" And then he like slowly backs away into the water. He's like, "I don't know," and then disappears.
Yeah, he's like,
and then literally 5 seconds later, more hydro. Where did all the rest of the hydrobots go?
They smoked them all.
Yeah, that was it. I like that. Like 5 seconds later, they all come like, "Hey, where is he? Where is he?" He's like, "I don't know. I lost sight of him."
Yeah, we lost him.
But sir, I just saw that guy over there. Shut up!
Gun, shoots him. Shut the fuck up.
So, where are we here? Oh, so John orchestrates an attack on Skynet. He's gonna secretly go in by himself because Michael Ironside was like, "We have a plan," and John's like, "Well, I have a plan too, and we need to try this so that we can save the innocent people there." And he's like, "Fuck the innocent people. We're going to bomb the fuck out of Skynet." And he's like, "Fuck you." And he's like, "Well, you're relieved of your duties." And I like when after the call, Common and some other random guy at the controls was like, "I didn't hear that last part."
Yeah, right.
So John comes up with a plan to go in by himself because Marcus is already going there and he's already there. And this is where you get John's about to leave. He, hugs and kisses his wife, and she goes, "What do I tell your men when they realize you're gone?" He goes, "I'll be back," and then walks away.
So, like I said, it was done more nonchalantly.
It wasn't like, "I'll be back." He was just like, "I'll be back."
I'll be back.
Say it like that. Yeah. Like Arnold would.
Imagine Christian Bale's just like, "I'll be back," and you're like, "Whoa." I didn't fit at all.
Get to the chopper. I'm looking for John Connor.
every time John is in a helicopter in this fucking movie and ends up crashing.
Yes.
Stop going
out of him.
At the end, when you see him in the end, you're like, "No."
Yeah, no, John.
So Marcus ends up going there, and he actually gets himself so Skynet recognizes him as a Terminator. So they don't attack him. So he's able to just kind of go in because it's the whole plan. So he goes in, he taps into Skynet. He gets all this information flushed into his head. And then that's when he has a conversation with Helena Bonham Carter's character, which is just Skynet using her as a reference or as somebody he knows.
Yeah, because he mentions that's a face that he would recognize.
Right, because it changes between John and Kyle and Blair, I think, at one point. But he's talking to her and she lays it all down. She's like, "Listen, you were created to infiltrate and do exactly what you're doing. You're infiltrating and you're bringing our target to us without you really knowing it. So thank you and you're going to do something that Skynet has failed to do for so long, and that is kill John Connor." And that's when he looks over to his right and he sees John Connor downstairs. He's like, "Fuck."
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much for playing my game. Yeah. Mario reference.
Yeah. Don't worry. Speaking of Mario. So Marcus is like, "Yeah, fuck that." And he picks up a stool and just whips it at the screen and destroys it.
Yep.
John, he's trying to find Kyle. He's yelling for Kyle, and he's asking all these people, "You see Kyle Reese? You see Kyle Reese?" Everybody's like, "I don't fucking know anyone's name here. I just want to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
I don't care. And Kyle's the only one who's locked up in a cell that didn't open when he deactivated the locks.
Yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of this is something that happens at this moment when he's talking to Skynet. Of course, where he figures out, he does his own research. He figures out what happens, in the past and, whatever happened with Judgment Day. But they mentioned that the code that the Resistance has was a plant. It doesn't actually mean anything. Like, it was a trick to bring the Resistance army there to attack them so they could wipe them out too. It was just a ploy. So like, it was probably what happened is like it probably works, but when the attack comes, they're just gonna like send like a mass patch to like patch that out. Like, okay, this doesn't work anymore. So, but another thing though, but they mentioned that to Marcus, but he doesn't tell anybody, and they never try the sound thing.
No, they don't. Well, because it just all kind of gets thrown out the window because they find out that Skynet found out where the sub was. Headquarters.
Yep.
And they blow it up.
Yep.
So bye, Michael Ironside. See you later, buddy.
Bye, Russian dude.
Yeah. Bye, random Russian guy who had no name.
But he was
General Lysenko?
Yeah. He was from the Czechoslovakia.
Oh, he's Czech. Okay, that's fair.
Well, it's Czech Republic now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. He's born in Prague.
But he was born before it was Czech Republic.
But he was also in The Hunt for Red October.
Yes.
So he knows a thing or two about subs.
That's why they cast him. Like, you know, a submarine, don't you? He's like, you know, I'm an actor, right?
You know these things.
So as John is trying to find Kyle, he opens a door and he sees a sight for sore eyes. He's like, Papa? No, it's a naked ass CG Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he's here to beat your ass.
Like digital dick. No!
No, they put a perfect shadow over that.
Oh, they nailed it.
They're like, oh, it's PG-13. And so he gets thrown around a couple times and he runs away. He gets he finally runs into Star and Kyle. He goes, "What's your name?" "Kyle Reese. Come with me, Dad. I mean Kyle." And then he and they leave and they're trying to outrun the T800. And they get to the basement or whatever. It's literally like they're mixing a bunch of the movies together where it's like it's a mix of the factory from Terminator and then kind of the steel mill from Terminator 2, where you kind of have that same like gross, like really fucking high, everyone's sweating.
Yeah.
And they find the assembly line of the T800s and John is just like, oh shit. This isn't good.
I was waiting for something to get put on his face because he's like,
oh yeah.
He's like right behind the
It's like Child's Play 2 where the guy gets the eyes put in his head.
I was waiting. I was like, he keeps looking.
Well, another thing I like about this is like you see them mark a few T600s right in the movie, but then when like the T800, you kind of see how much more improved it is. Like even like structurally, it's a lot stronger. Than the T600s are because they've taken
faster, stronger, and you also
they're taking them out with
it's like bulletproof. Like it doesn't take much damage.
Yeah, the 600s are taken out with, the like M16 AR style weapons, and that like with enough shots you could take one out. But these guys, he just mag dumps into Arnold, and then nothing. It's like I took that shit.
Yeah.
I like Marcus's little LSD moment he has when he's like syncing up to the
Skynet.
To Skynet.
Oh yeah, and he's just like
I think he accidentally hit like the entirety of Pornhub in like a split second. Like, oh fuck!
Malware!
Delete!
Can't delete it fast enough.
But like you can see it on the actor's face. Like we wouldn't know what it's like to sync up to something like that.
No,
but it's like his face is just like makes it.
Yeah,
makes the whole scene.
So they discover the assembly line and they discover the cores that go into the T800 that powers it. But if you watch the Terminator 3, you find out that they can overheat and actually become nuclear. And John states that. So there you go.
Oh, you mean the
callback to Terminator 3?
The only thing relevant from Terminator 3. Yep. The only thing.
So that's when he gets the bright idea to use those cores.
I'm just gonna forget that happened.
He's gonna use those cores as the way to blow up Skynet. At least this facility. Because I think ultimately the whole goal was to stop the T800s from being built.
I think so, yeah.
Because this was like the main factory for building the T800s.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how the movie kind of perceives it. So Marcus joins the fight because he sends Kyle and Star off to get with, they run into Kate and Blair and Barnes. And they're like, oh, John's still in there. And Kate's like, what? Huh? And John is setting up the explosives and all that, and the T800 comes out and just starts beating his ass.
He rips that T600 in half, remember? He's
like,
wow.
And Marcus shows up to the fight. He gets involved. He starts fighting it, and you kind of get like a really even, hard fight. And then the T800 just starts fucking murking him, just punching him. But he also uses himself as a distraction because he sees what John's doing. And so he purposely lets the T800 beat his ass so that John can finish what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and which was cool because like, the T800 knocks Marcus over, and Marcus gets up and he grabs like a massive thing of concrete. It's just, okay, bah, like 3 or 4 times. And then he notices it like scans him and notices that the heart is vulnerable. So he punches him once right in the heart, just dead.
Yep.
And then it knows
survive a punch like that.
No.
Just saying.
And it goes to where it thinks John is, and he's not there. We also get a very similar scene to Terminator 1 where the T800 knocks John down and he has to climb up the stairs. I think he has to like crawl up the stairs, which is what Kyle had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fighting the T800 at the end of the Terminator. We also saw that the T800 was faking. It was sounding like Kyle. It was calling out to him.
Yeah,
John,
mimics his
John.
voice.
Yeah. And yeah, this Terminator is just beating its ass. But then John notices that there's a big, huge thing of molten metal. And he's like, well, if I can get that thing under that molten metal, we should be A-okay. So he gets under it, shoots at the thing enough where it tips over, pours out the molten metal onto the T800. The T800 ain't stopping there. It comes bursting out of the molten metal. And it starts to walk towards him, and then he shoots a line that shoots just, I'm guessing, cold air or some high pressure air.
Line.
Yeah, and it freezes it. It like hardens the molten metal. And this is where you get, so in all the prior movies where they show John Connor, he has scars on his face. This is where he gets his scars. Want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah.
Hey, Christian Bale.
That's right? It's relevant.
So this is where the Terminator's reaching out and it scratches these massive scratches into his face. And he then finishes what he's got to do. And the T800 starts to like break out of the hardened shell he's in. And John's over there trying to revive Marcus. And he ends up reviving him. But right as that happens, John gets stabbed in the heart, pretty much, or in the chest with a big giant piece of metal. Thrown to the side. Marcus fights the T800 and ends up beating it by ripping its head off.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. Yeah. He just like come up behind it and just he stabs the piece of metal through and then fucking twists. I was like, yes!
Really cool.
So good.
And so Marcus carries John out and they get picked up with the chopper. Star hands John the detonator and boom. This facility is blown to smithereens.
Terminator. Would have waited a little bit longer to blow this up.
Right, they're really like close. Right there. Like maybe we should have waited just a wee bit longer.
I was like, they would have been catapulted forward as close as they were.
Yeah. So then they get back to the base, and you're like, you find out John's dying. It just his heart can't handle it. And Marcus makes the ultimate sacrifice. He said, "Take mine. I don't need it. I'm a Terminator. I can't even have sex with Blair."
We missed the part where he rips the chip out of his head.
Oh yeah, because he rips that control chip earlier.
And then that's when he throws the stool and shatters the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I ain't no puppet, damn it.
Yeah. You ain't got pulling no more strings. So yeah, so he offers his heart to John. And everybody's like, really? You would do that? Yes.
He's like, bro love.
Yeah.
He's like, do it now or I change my mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, he you get the moment where John is like talking to Kyle, but it's like, you're not going to tell him that he's your dad, right? This is going to be a weird conversation. Because I don't even think so. Kyle never knows, even in the original, that it becomes John's dad. Like it was never implied. So I'm glad they didn't do that thing where he's just like, listen, I had to save you because you're going to be my dad.
Daddy?
Hi, Papa.
Sorry. Daddy? Sorry.
Papa? And yeah, so the operation goes down and John's all better and he gets choppered out. And I was like, not another helicopter.
They could have gave Marcus a baboon heart.
I mean, he's going to die anyways.
Brought him back.
He's not flying the chopper, but he's going to crash.
And then the end dialogue from Christian Bale is, yeah, this isn't over. We're supposed to have another movie, and it never happened. Dun 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 dun.
Dun, dun. Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
John Connor's supposed to die.
Yep. And
not yet. Not yet.
No,
I know, not yet, but he's supposed to die.
That version of John Connor could have died because he was terrible.
Yeah.
But
not
that's it. That is Terminator Salvation.
I did look something up, and maybe this was mentioned in the movie. I don't know, because they always tell the model number of the robot, the Terminators, right?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't figure out like if they gave Marcus one, so I was googling it here while we're playing. He is an existing model line. He is the H line or TH line, the Terminator hybrid, or they also call him the Theta line. So. From what I could tell, like the movie showing, they seem pretty close to as strong as an 800, but of course not nearly as durable because they've got the heart. But that's not what they're designed for. They're designed more to be like spies.
Punch him in the heart.
And that was before the 800 existed. So
right.
Where they gave them giant, like thigh slapping cocks. They had
something else that I forgot to mention was the fact that Sam Worthington was recommended by James Cameron to be in this movie because McGee went to James Cameron while he was filming Avatar to talk about the Terminator franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And James Cameron was like, hey, you know what? You should have Sam Worthington be in your movie. And they're like, oh, all right.
I thought he did a good job. I thought they did a good job hiding it from you that he was a Terminator. Like you didn't know until like if you weren't like if you didn't know ahead of time or just watched the movie casually, you wouldn't have known. I didn't know.
This is a very to me I feel this is a very underrated Terminator movie. I feel this is actually a good entry to this franchise. I just think a lot of the hate was the fact that a lot of people thought it was boring, and the color grade is kind of it's very black and brown.
Yeah, it is. That's how movies were at that time, though, or some movies were.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that boring was far from what I was feeling watching this movie. There's
I enjoyed it.
Action, you get to see a lot of Terminator stuff going on, and I had a lot of fun watching this again. And
I thought it was a good time.
I never watched this. This is my first time. So I enjoyed how long it took them to tell you what Marcus was.
Right.
And it wasn't the same old.
Yeah.
That's not always a bad thing, but they did do a different spin on it. And like you said, it's good to see it in the future. And it's not a perfect movie, guys. We're not saying it's not. And I like the first and second one better than this one, but I thought this was a good movie.
This was the first Terminator movie to not have time travel in it.
Hey, like I said, dude, something different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it didn't need it. Didn't make sense.
I kind of want to play the game. I'm sure it's shit, but I kind of want to play the game.
Yeah, so they did. So we talked about it last week. They had a console version of Terminator Salvation, and then they had the arcade game.
I played the arcade one.
I played both because I think I bought it for like $10 at GameStop on the PS3 back in the day.
There you go.
Word for word, that she voiced them.
That's bullshit. She should have got a credit for that.
Who?
Linda Hamilton.
Because she was uncredited.
She was uncredited for her word for word. lines. But yeah, like I called it at the beginning, but it was maybe I'm wrong.
Because you don't specify, like it's just an experiment they're doing. But you see all those other humans that are alive at the beginning, and then you see him on the table.
And I've seen so many zombie movies that I'm like, well, maybe they just
maybe he's just somebody they're bringing back, or they were trying to do
fully kill him with lethal injection. You know,
right? I don't know.
Well, that's it. That's Terminator Salvation. We are going to be taking a break from the Terminator franchise for 1 week before we hop back into the final 2 films of this franchise. But next week, we have a special guest joining us to talk about a not-so-special movie. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Dark Razor joining us to talk about a little movie called the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993.
It just hit me what we were watching. Like, you already told us, and you're like, a very not good movie. And I was like, fucking hell.
Oh, man.
No, I'm not dressing up.
Come on.
Nope.
It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be great to have Dark on once again, especially to talk about a movie as this.
All of us have to have
sunglasses. We gotta wear pit vipers. All of us.
Oh, I ain't gonna fuck dude. I'm just wearing sunglasses. You ain't getting no fucking pit vipers from me, dude. Like I'm wearing a damn blast shield on my face. Fuck that shit. There's nothing wrong if y'all like them. It's just not my cup of tea.
Okay.
He's like, okay.
I'll have my Yoshi.
So yeah, we're doing Super Mario Brothers movie next week, and then the week after we'll be back talking to Terminator with Terminator Genesis. Terminator Genesis.
We'll be sure to make sure you wear your Genesis cream. Just sounds like it.
Sounds like some kind of STD or something.
So again, I want to thank everybody who downloads the show on podcast services. I want to thank everybody who continues to watch the Anaconda episode, because it is continuing to get racking up those views.
It's there.
I'm loving it. I'm answering YouTube comments on videos from like when we first started putting videos out.
Oh, really?
Heck yeah. So I keep trying to go through and look at them.
So yeah, thank you everybody. We've been getting great numbers. We're closing on 4,000 downloads on the show.
Nice. Oh, dude, that wasn't very.
No, we've been getting some numbers the last couple of days, at least as of this recording.
We'll have to talk about it off screen.
Yeah. So
off recording.
But yeah, thank you. Make sure if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, well, anywhere you can rate our show, make sure you rate us, because the more ratings we get, the more we get recommended to people, and we want more people to start listening to the show, which is awesome.
Yes.
If you listen to us on Good Pods, which is the app I primarily use to listen to podcasts, you can rate individual shows or rate the show as a whole, which is awesome. And it's an app that focuses on indie podcasts instead of, recommending you podcasts that are, not indie podcasts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, fuck you, Sacred Symbols. You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, Colin Moriarty is a good guy.
I just this is the first big fucking YouTube not YouTube podcast I could think of was just Sacred Symbols.
But yeah, thank you so much for all that. Make sure you rate us if you can. And if you watch us on YouTube, make sure to like the video, comment on the video, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, because it's free to do it. Seriously, it's free. You don't have to pay.
My favorite F word. Well, second favorite F word.
What? Free?
Yeah.
Oh. What's the other one? Frijoles? Oh, I'm sorry. Fajitas. It's fajitas. That's what it was.
That makes sense.
I have a closing comment.
Frijoles.
Okay.
2 things. First off, don't listen. Up good. It's gonna be great. Shh, I'm building to it. First off, make sure you check out Jurassic Park 3. Listen or watch. No. Secondly, and I need, if anybody ever does this, you need to tag us on Twitter, DissectThatFilm on Twitter, or on one of the Terminator YouTube videos. The next time you are getting passionate with somebody, you need to get right next to their ear and very quietly say, dun, 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 dun. Like, and just please, if you do this and like it doesn't fuck the opportunity for you completely, tell us. I need to know that you actually did this.
Before we move on, because I completely almost forgot to read this. So we got I asked people to leave a comment on what they thought of Terminator Salvation, either emailing us.
Don't forget
or
that.
messaging us.
More part of my bullshit.
Right. And messaging us on Twitter. We got an email from our boy Johnny Blue, who says, I truly thought and still do think Salvation should have been the new chapter for continued Terminator films. The constant time travel, or in the vein of Genesis or the later Dark Fate of slightly changing the future outcome of the ending of T2. I would have loved to see John Connor after the events of Salvation dealing with the weight of being a leader and not just a resistance fighter. Also more of the evolution of Skynet and even the revival of the beta plans for T1000, which that would be fucking sweet. See the process of Skynet making the T1000.
Yeah, why not? That'd been great.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's like the way that this movie ends, would that have been the case? Or did T2, did they have that all planned out? I don't know. The time travel
is different, so.
Yeah, that's true. The time travel has been so overdone in these movies that having it set in the after Judgment Day landscape would have been the shot in the arm that would have been a better foundation for more films. Sadly, it was just so badly mishandled that we will never get what we should have gotten. Well, that's my 2 cents and maybe a quarter on Salvation.
Take it back.
Then he says, Brett, Dan, and Angela, you thank you for the wonderful podcast and also for being great streamers. Your forever fan, Johnny Blue. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny.
We love
appreciate
Johnny.
Those kind words. And
absolutely we do.
The great.
I don't know about you two, but I love Johnny.
Johnny's a nice guy. He's a cool chap.
Listen, Johnny is a huge supporter of this channel, and to be honest, he's been a fan of ours even before we even started this whole thing. So Johnny's a good guy, and I appreciate all the support that he shows on the show.
I've known Johnny for a while.
Where did was it on here we met him? Was it on?
No.
Or was it? No, I mean when we were streaming.
It's been a while. It's been a long time.
From somebody that's not relevant anymore.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
And we stopped there. Oh, hey, it's Future Me. Just here because we got a couple more comments after we recorded the show, but I feel it was necessary to read off some of the other comments that people had on Terminator Salvation. So I figured I'd record something a little bit, insert it into this episode, and then we'll get back to the end of Past Me. So we had a couple comments. The first one was from our friends over at Epic Film Guys, who stated, solid concept, great ideas, and at the time had my favorite actor at the center. But for me as a fan that had anticipated that film my whole life and missed the mark, still not terrible by any means. I could agree with that. I think, there probably was that expectation. It just probably wasn't met, but it was better than Terminator 3. Next is from a big fan, Rudy5453, who said, I know I'm in the minority here, but I have a soft spot for this one. I appreciate it for trying something new. I like the twist. I agree with you, Rudy. Thank you so much for the comment. And our last one is from The Decision Reel. This is, I don't understand the hate this movie gets. People wanted a different Terminator movie, and that's exactly what we got. Was it perfect? No. But it did what it set out to do, and it was awesome. That's a comment I would have wrote. So thank you to everybody who left your comments. Make sure I will be posting, for the next movie from sometime during the week, so that you guys can leave your comments on the newest movie we're about to cover. So, with all that said, let's get back.
Yes.
And so thank you again for leaving that. So make sure if you have, like I said, when you listen to this podcast, it'll be 2 days. Usually the release of the podcast is 2 days before we record our next episode. So we are doing Super Mario Brothers this week or next week. So when you listen to this, make sure you can send me a DM on Twitter. You can comment something on Twitter or send us an email at dissectthatfilm@gmail.com and leave us your thoughts on the movie we're reviewing, and we'll read it on the show. And if you don't want to be named, if you want to be anonymous, just say you want to be anonymous. I have no problem not mentioning who sends the comments. I just, it's cool to read other people's thoughts on the movie, except for it was good. We like that was a very thought out. It was
a movie.
It was a movie. the thought process, that whole thing from Johnny, that was great. Loved it. Thank you again, Johnny.
That was good.
Yeah, it's very nice, Johnny. Well put.
So thank you everybody for all the support. As always, I'm very excited to have Dark on the show, and I'm very excited to just get more people on the show that either have been on the show already or we haven't had on. And because having guests has been a blast to have.
I'm excited to talk to him.
Huh?
I've never personally talked to him other than in his streams, and he's been coming up on my For You page on TikTok. Just saying,
it's going to be an absolute blast, and I can't wait. But wait until we make this a little bit too long. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at DissectThatFilm. And for our links, for DNA Gaming, and for my links, they're all going to be down in the description. We actually have a link tree for Dissect That Film. So instead of us be posting a shit ton of links, just click on that link tree and it'll send you to all of the links you need between the podcast services, YouTube, Twitter, all that. One click. It's fucking awesome. And our merch store is there as well. So which I was gonna wear my new merch, but it's in the laundry, so I'll wear it next week. We're doing Super Mario, so I'll wear I got my purple shirt in tribute to Waluigi. He's not even gonna be in that movie and didn't even exist at the time the movie was made. All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 63. See you all again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.